All right. Good morning, all of you. I hope you are able to hear me. Yes. Good morning, Abhishek. Right. So, right. So I hope all of you are able to hear me. All of you are able to see the screen clearly. Right. So let's quickly start. You can check this out. This is going to decide a lot of things today in today's class. Right. Because your mind is going to blown away in today's class. Exact. So yeah, we'll start with the quick recall of what we studied in last class. Right? Let us see that and then quickly start our next class. So we had studied basically two important properties, and those were the two important properties were basically your melting point and boiling point, where we said the melting point initially increases till chromium, right? And then it decreases, correct? So why it decreases after chromium? Because initially, because your melting point is directly proportional to number of unpaired electrons, and number of unpaired electrons is more means your metallic bonds are more. More is the metallic bond, more is the number of unpaired electrons, more is the melting point and boiling point, right? So that's why you can see here the chromium has maximum number of unpaired electrons, that is 6. Therefore, chromium has maximum melting point. Then it start decreasing. Then it start decreasing further. The only thing is manganese was slightly lower, right, than normal. Correct? This is what we had concluded, right? Because the electrons were paired in, for the first time, electrons were paired in 4s. After 3D, 4s, electrons for the first time was paired in 4s. This is what we had given the example also. And then we had moved towards enthalpy of atomization. We had seen the same kind of graph of melting point in the case of enthalpy of atomization. Correct? Yes, Ravi Kiran, you'll get a similar graph. Because they are mostly you don't measure their boiling point, you mainly measure their melting points. They are solids. Now you'll get the similar graph as of melting point, because enthalpy of atomization also is directly proportional to metallic bonds. More is the metallic bond, more is enthalpy of atomization. And metallic bond depend upon number of unpaired electrons. Correct? So these were the two things we had concluded. So let's move to today's topic. We'll begin with a recall test. The higher enthalpy of atomization of 4D and 5D series in comparison to 3D series is the higher enthalpy of atomization of 4D, 4 transition of second transition series and third transition series has more enthalpy of atomization than your first transition series. Let me give you the options. So it says second and third transition series has more enthalpy of atomization than first transition series. So this is the question. The reasons are in front of you. So till now I have got some answers. Let us see. All right. So you have another 5 seconds for this. Yes. So we will end it on count of 3, 2, 1 now. So let's end it now. Right. So most of you have answered it correctly actually. So here high enthalpy of atomization depends upon number of metallic bond, right? It depends upon strength of metallic bond. It depends upon more number of unpaired electrons. It also depends upon so one thing you can observe clearly here, your enthalpy of atomization depends upon metallic bond, which depend upon number of unpaired electrons. So if the enthalpy of atomization is more, that might be due to strong metallic bonds, right? Which might be due to more number of unpaired electrons, right? And strong interatomic interaction is nothing but similar to metallic bond. Between two atom, interactions are strong. So that if between two atom interactions are strong, you have to apply more energy to break and isolate them into gaseous atom. So enthalpy of atomization again will be high. So all first B and C are almost similar options. So if B and C are correct, so obviously all of them should be correct, right? So A, B, C, all three are correct. So your answer is all of the above. Your answer here is all of the above. Correct? So there are many of you who have answered A, C, etc., etc. So please check it. If even if more than one option is correct, you need to answer all of the above. Okay? Is that clear, everyone? Is that clear, everyone? Right. So let's move to our next thing which we need to study, that is your atomic radii. Right. So again, I am explaining everything in terms of atomic radii because this is what is given in your textbook also. You can see these graphs in your textbook as well. Right? These graphs are mentioned in your textbooks also. Right. So if you see this carefully, the atomic radii, generally atomic radii from left to right, what happens to the atomic radii? Generally your left to right atomic radii increases. As you go from left to right, atomic radii increases because effective nuclear charge increases, or you can say number of protons increases. You can say both, correct? So that is what. Now the next thing is, if you observe the graphs here, you will find very contrasting things here. What are those contrasting things you find here? You will observe the graph is decreasing, right? Graph is decreasing as you move from left to right, size decreases, but you will observe a sharp increase at which element? At which element do you observe the increase? From left to right, size is decreasing, but at which element you observe the increase in size? Check again, Abhishek, where you see the increase in size. Yes, Shreya. So you can see here clearly that the graph is decreasing more initially, right? Till manganese it is fine. What happens after manganese? Iron, cobalt, nickel are almost constant, very slight decrease, right? Then at copper what happens? Copper atomic radii increases for the first time, and zinc it again increases. So it decreases very heavily till manganese, then it becomes almost constant till nickel, then it increases at copper, correct? Now what explanation we can give for it, right? What explanation we can give for it? So iron, cobalt, nickel you can assume, or let's say cobalt, nickel you can assume constant, then it increases to copper, from copper. So what reason can we think about it? What can be the reason in it? It's almost similar to what we have studied in metallic melting point and enthalpy of atomization. It is almost similar to that. So what do you feel? What can we answer here? What should be our reason? No other first series, how will you get lanthanide contraction? Pranav, kindly correct. what was the reason you gave in enthalpy of atomization? What was the reason you gave in enthalpy of atomization? You gave number of unpaired electrons, correct? Right? So see here also what happens. There are two types of forces which are involved. You should understand it like this. There are two types of forces which are involved. If you see it carefully, what are those two forces? One is force of attraction. Force of attraction between your nucleus and valence electron. So this is the force of attraction. If force of attraction increases, size decreases. So in a normal period, when you go from left to right, nuclear charge, that means charge on nucleus, or you can say positive charge on nucleus, increases. Therefore, force of attraction between nucleus and electron increases and size decreases in a normal period. But in this period, there is one more factor which comes into play. What is that? There is a repulsive force. What is the repulsive force we are talking about? We are talking about electron-electron repulsion. We are talking about this electron-electron repulsion, right? So this is what you need to do, correct? So now, if you see this, Ganesh, kindly slightly correct. So if you see this, the balance of these two, attractive force decreases in size, repulsive force increases in size. The balance of these two will decide the size. Now, if you see this carefully, what happens? What happens in scandium is 3D1, 3D2, 3D3, 3D4, 3D5, 4s1, and manganese is also 3D5. What happens in iron? It is 3D6. So for iron, the configuration is 3D6, 4s2. The configuration is 3D6, 4s2, right? So if you see, till manganese it is 3D5. Till manganese it is 3D5. That means 1 unpaired electron in d orbital. What starts happening at iron? What will start happening at iron? What will start happening at iron? You are pairing electron in iron. So what does that do? So electron will start repelling each other now. Correct? So now after iron, electrons start pairing in d subshell. So electron-electron repulsion increases. Electron-electron repulsion increases, correct? Right? Now, what do you observe here? Electron-electron repulsion increases, due to which force of repulsion will increase. And what will happen when the force of repulsion increases? Due to repulsion, size will also increase. Correct? Now, what do you observe here? You observe here that in iron, there is only one electron-electron repulsion. So here, you can say in iron, force of attractive is almost very slightly greater than force of repulsive. Correct? And till manganese, there is only force of attraction. At iron, force of repulsion is also introduced, but still attraction is larger than repulsion. Therefore, size decreases from manganese to iron. But when you come to iron to cobalt, again same size decreases, because there are only what? 2 electron pair. They are in minority in cobalt. Cobalt, there are 2 electron pair, 3 unpaired electrons. Right? Majority is more for unpaired electron. So still repulsion will be less than attraction. Correct? What happens in cobalt and nickel? Here your repulsive force becomes almost equal to your attractive force, approximately. Therefore, your size does not increase. Correct? Or decrease. But what happens in copper? Copper is what? It is 3D10, 4s1. Zinc is what? 3D10, 4s2. 3D10 means what? All d subshells are paired. If all d subshells are paired, what does it mean? There will be lot of electron-electron repulsion. So after these, repulsive force becomes greater than attractive force in copper and zinc. And if repulsive force is greater than attractive force, effective size will increase. Right? All of you, please go through this again. If there is any doubt, please ask. I will summarize after you ask your doubts. So this is the trend in atomic radii for 3D series. Right? We'll discuss few more things here. Right. See this carefully. If there is any doubt in this, please ask. You can say that, Vijayalakshmi, no problem in that. Right? Yeah. So you can say that, Chandan, you can write iron also here, manganese also here, because manganese may be also electron pairing starts in 4s. So you can write manganese also. Almost constant, Kishore, not much difference. Right? All right. So I think there is no much doubt. Yes, Sakshi, you are right. Vallabh. Right. No. We'll discuss the 4D and 5D series also. I hope the 3D series is clear. I'll reiterate it. I'll summarize it. See this carefully. So if you see this, as I said, there are two forces responsible here. Force of attraction between nucleus and electron, and force of repulsion between electron-electron. So force of attraction is responsible for decrease in size, whereas force of repulsion is responsible for increase in size. Correct? So as you observe from scandium till chromium, right? You keep filling one electron in. Scandium is 3d1, titanium 3d2, vanadium 3d3, chromium 3d5. So you keep filling unpaired electron. There is no paired electron, right? So we don't talk about repulsive force. But what happens after manganese or iron? The electron starts pairing. So electron-electron repulsion also comes into the picture. Now electron-electron repulsion will start to increase the size. So what will happen? Here the decrease is more because only attractive forces were there. But here decrease is less because repulsive forces are also there. Some decrease is balanced by increase in size due to repulsive force. So here the decrease in size is less. Why? Because here only attractive forces are there. Here attractive and repulsive both are there. Right? So repulsive force will increase size, this will decrease size. Which is greater? Attractive is greater, therefore size will slightly decrease. But when you go to cobalt and nickel, the attractive and repulsive force becomes equal because number of paired electron in cobalt and nickel will be more. So electron-electron repulsions will be more. And when you go to copper and zinc, they have 3d10 configuration. That means all the electrons are paired. All the electrons are paired means what? The electron-electron repulsions will be more than attractive force. So therefore, effective size will increase. Correct? No, Chandan, this is different thing. Is this clear, everyone? Yes. Is this clear, everyone? Right. Now come to the other series. If you see the other series, they will follow almost the same trend. The only difference you can observe is that constant part start beginning at iron, the element next to the iron. Here the constant part was at cobalt. Here the constant begins slightly before. That's the only difference. So you can say here two elements were having similar size. You can say here three elements will have similar size. then it increases. So similar trend, you can say it's a U-shaped trend where the constant comes at two elements in 3D series, cobalt and nickel. In 4D and 5D series, it comes from three elements, right? Which elements you can mark here? Which elements you can mark here? Right. So the elements in 4D series will be ruthenium, rhodium, palladium, and in the 5D series will be these three. Right? They have the constant size. Whereas in the 3D series, only cobalt and nickel have the similar size, almost constant size. Correct? So this is what you can observe. Right? So I hope there is normal trend in this atomic radii is clear in the period. We'll discuss the group now. We'll discuss the group now. Like we have discussed three periods. Now we'll discuss the group. Right? This is a very difficult thing because there are a lot of exceptions in this. The regularity is not there. Right? So now if it is clear, then you can press yes. You can press yes, sprite, clear, whatever you want. Whatever is comfortable for you. All right. So, all right. Yes. So what I want to discuss next is, see this carefully, right? If you see this logically, size increases, right? Down the group, size increases. You'll observe the increase in size. See, this increases. Let's say this is your scandium. Let's say this is your scandium. This is your yttrium, and this is your lanthanum. So what do you observe? In a group, size is increasing. Normally, scandium, yttrium, lanthanum. Scandium, yttrium, lanthanum. So as you go from scandium, yttrium, lanthanum, size increases. Right? What contrasting thing you see here is कि size increases from, let us say, this is your titanium. Let us say this is your 3D2 titanium. This becomes your zirconium. This becomes your hafnium. So what do you observe in the second group, this group, that zirconium and hafnium, you can see here, zirconium and hafnium has almost similar size. They are almost touching each other. Correct? And if you go to the next elements, that is niobium and thallium. So niobium and thallium are also very close to each other. Right? So what do you observe here? The observe here is that zirconium and niobium becomes, zirconium and hafnium becomes similar in size. Niobium and thallium becomes similar in size. Correct? So what is the reason for this? We have to anyway study this in detail. We will discuss it. So you can summarize here by writing that size of 5D series is greater than 4D series, which is greater than 3D series. The exception comes here is, the exception which comes here is, the radii of zirconium is equal to hafnium approximately, and radium of niobium is also approximately equal to thallium. So what do you observe here? So why is this due to? This is basically due to lanthanide contraction. Right? This is mainly due to lanthanide contraction. I'll not discuss this term here now. I'll discuss it in lanthanides, but I'll give you one more logical reason here. What is that logical reason here? Right? So you check their atomic numbers. Zirconium and hafnium. Let me give you the atomic numbers. Zirconium and hafnium. So atomic number of hafnium is 72. Let us check the zirconium atomic number. Zirconium is 40. Correct? Let me give you yttrium and lanthanum also, 39 and 57. Yttrium, lanthanum is 39 and 57. Correct? So what's the difference you observe here? What's the difference you observe here? What's the difference you observe here in these two cases? So here we say lanthanum size is greater than yttrium. So that's quite obvious, because as you go down the group, number of shells increases. So size increases because number of shell increases. Correct? Number of shell increases. But what the reason you will give that why zirconium and hafnium have similar size? Because you should observe here the difference is 39 and 57. How much? 18. So how many protons have you increased here? In the nucleus, how many protons are there? Increased, 18. But here, how many protons are increased in the nucleus? How many protons are increased in the nucleus? 32. 32 protons are added. And when you add more number of protons to the nucleus, if you add more number of protons to the nucleus, proton carry positive charge. Then what will increase? Then what will increase? It will increase your effective nuclear charge between nucleus and electron. Correct? So let me write it over here. Here you have 32 proton, right? Increased. So charge, positive charge is due to 32 proton. Correct? So between these two, the increase in charge is due to 32 proton. And between these two, the increase in charge is due to 18 proton. Right? So electron is attracted by 18 extra proton. Here electron is attracted by 32 extra proton. In which case force of attraction will be more? In which case force of attraction will be more? First case or second case? 32 or 18? Second case. So due to increase in number of proton, force of attraction increases and size decreases. Correct? So we were expecting size to increase because number of shell increases. So size increases, right? So let me write here, size increases because as number of shell increases down the group. This is also applicable. Correct? This is one factor which is applicable. Right? The second factor which is applicable here is 32 protons are added. 32 protons will attract electrons. So force of attraction is more than a normal group, because normal group may 18 protons attract. Here 32 protons are attracting the electrons. So force of attraction increases. 32 proton means more positive charge on nucleus. Protons carry positive charge. So force of attraction increases, size will decrease. So this factor is increasing the size. This factor is decreasing the size. So what happens eventually is the factor 1 and factor 2. Factor 1 and factor 2 are nearly equal. Right? That means what is the meaning of that? What is the meaning of that? The meaning of that is increase in size from zirconium to hafnium due to increase in number of shells is balanced by decrease in size due to effective nuclear charge, right? Because of 32 extra protons which are added. Correct? So if the both factors are equal, the size will normally remain same. Size will not change much. If zirconium is 169, hafnium will be 170. That's all. Correct? So this is logical reason behind it. Actual name of this is lanthanoid contraction. I'm not using that term because I have to again teach whole lanthanide series for that. But logically you can understand it like this. Correct? Is that clear, everyone? Increase in proton is directly proportional to increase in shells. Can we tell this? Abhishek, H, you can never tell that. You can never tell that because in a period also you increase the atomic number, right? Increasing the atomic number, but the number of shell remains same. Correct? So increase in proton or atomic number does not increase the shell always, right? I'll summarize once again. So see carefully, there are two factors again. See, always life maybe there are two factors, happiness, sadness. If happiness is more than sadness, two reasons for happiness. One for sadness, you will be happy. One happiness, one sadness, you will be okay. Two sadness, one happiness, you will be sad. Similarly, for everything, there are two factors always. more than one, we can say. So what is the factor here? As you go down the group, size increases because number of shell increases. This we already know, right? But in a normal group, you can see here, in the previous group, the atomic number was increasing by 18. So if there were 18 protons attracting electrons, so force of attraction, let us say, was X, right? 18 proton, or you can say plus 18 attracting electron, 18 proton. Here there are 32 extra protons which are added. So now the electron is attracted by 32 protons. That means plus 32 charge. So force of attraction now is between plus 32 charge and minus 1 charge. What does that mean? Your force of attraction increases more than here. So if force of attraction here was normally increased by X, here it will be how much? 2X. So since the force of attraction increases more than any other group, therefore size decreases. So here force of attraction due to 18 proton was not a big factor because 18 proton was not much. But here 32 protons will attract electron, due to which force of attraction will increase a lot. And if force of attraction between nucleus and electron increases, size will decrease. So one factor here is increasing the size, number of shell. Other factor here is decreasing the size. Both the factors are almost equal to each other. Therefore, size will not change. Therefore, size will not change. Is that clear, Vishal and Sakshi? Is that clear, beta? Vishal and Sakshi, is that clear now? So these are your exceptions in your group of D block element. If there is any doubt in this, and to be honest with you, right, you come here, I'll tell you. Silver and copper here, they will also have similar size. You can see here, silver and copper also almost, not as these two. Silver and copper also has approximately similar size. Right? Almost, not much, almost. Okay? So remember these exceptions. It's important for your exam. If there is any doubt, I'm giving you a 10-second window. You can ask. I'm going to move towards my next concept after this. Why doesn't exception continue till last group? See, I'll tell you something. This we have discussed in the last class also. If some teacher has given you a tight slap, given you a very tight slap, how many days it will last long? How many days it will last long? Sorry, yes, Ravikiran, thank you. Silver and gold, not copper and silver, silver and gold. Thank you, Ravikiran. It is silver and gold, these two. Yes, can you tell me, if somebody has given you very tight slab, how many days? Maximum 4-5 hours, maximum 5 days. It has a limit, right? So therefore, this increase in this is 18, this is 32. So for the first time it was increased 32. If you see the next elements, niobium and thallium, 41 and 73. How much is the difference? 41, 73, again 32. Right? Check next one. 42 and 74, again 32. So for the first time you got 32 here. So first impact is always the strongest impact. So therefore here the impact will be more. As you go ahead, the impact will neutralize. Right? So for the first time since the 32 electrons were introduced, the impact was more. Right? And as you go from this group to this group, anyways force of attraction is going to change because Z effective is changing. Correct? So that's how you can explain this. Right? So Netra, basically the point here is, as you are going from left to right, normal atomic number is also increasing. So decrease in size, normal period ka also comes into the picture. Therefore, its effect is lasted only till these two groups. Right? First impact is always the major impact. Okay? That's the reason I can ask you in group 13 elements, why you get exception between aluminium and gallium. After that, things becomes normal. Then again, last two elements. Because Gallium में randomly the change in properties come because for the first time gallium के पहले you fill 3D. Correct? That's the main reason. Otherwise, after gallium also there is a poor shielding effect. But why gallium is so much high? Like it shows very weird properties because for the first time you fill 3D before gallium. Okay? Is that clear, Netra? Right. So let's move ahead. Today should be a chemistry class only, man. Why not? There is no teacher who has joined also. Right. So now you come here. Right. I have already explained you this. I have already explained you 4D series and 5D series ka size are equal almost. Right. Almost similar size. Why it is almost similar size? I have already given you this reason. Right. These two elements. Few elements. Right. You should message to host Pratish. I have seen your message. As proton increases, electron will also increase. Then how size is affected down the group? See, protons increases, right? And electrons also increases. But you are not understanding one thing, that you are comparing it with this group. So here also 18 proton, 18 electron. But the increase in number of shell here and here is constant. How many shell increase here? One here. How many shell here increase? One here. So between these two, if you are comparing, number of shell is increased by same amount. Then what is the difference? The number of protons and number of electrons. So plus 18 minus 18, let's say. And here the force of attraction is between plus 32 and minus 32. Where force of attraction will be both? Plus 32 minus 32, obviously, right? If you increase the electron also, force of attraction is going to increase. Plus 2 coulomb charge, minus 2 coulomb charge. Plus 1 coulomb charge, minus 1 coulomb charge. Where force of attraction will be more? Plus 2 coulomb, minus 2 coulomb, right? Yes. So this is your first question, which you can see here. Not really, Rajkumar. We can't say that it's to that extent. Because it's not throughout the series, right? If it was throughout the series, you can say it. It's not throughout the series. Right. So let me give you the options. All right. I think this you should not do it wrong. Just a minute, guys. I need to mute myself. All right. So yeah, I know there is some miscommunication today with your timetable. Maybe it is due to mistake, but don't worry about that. Don't worry about it. I know. V means Vandanium, Rohit. V means Vandanium. Chalo, let's end this now. I don't think so. It's that lengthy question. Right. So what do you guys have answered is, most of you have answered D basically, right? So if you talk about Vandanium, manganese, copper and zinc. So the point here is zinc is larger than copper. We know that. Last mate increases. So zinc cannot be less than copper. So it is wrong, right? Zinc cannot be less than copper. It is also wrong, right? Now either your answer is C or D, correct? Now left to right, you observe the size decreases uniformly till chromium, or you can say till iron, to be honest. After that it becomes constant between cobalt and nickel, right? Initially till chromium decreases more, then decreases less, right? So you can say Vandanium is greater than manganese. So Vandanium cannot be less than manganese. If Vandanium, you can see here, Vandanium here, scandium, titanium, Vandanium. So Vandanium is larger than manganese, correct? So Vandanium, C is wrong because Vandanium cannot be less than manganese. So your answer will come out to be D. So your answer will come out to be D. So there are a lot of you who have voted A and C, right? So there are a lot of you who have voted for A and C also. Is that clear, everyone? Is that clear, everyone? So correct answer is D. And if you really want to find their orders, the problem of finding the exact order will be that you are very much sure that from scandium till nickel, there is no problem. Then nickel, say copper. So copper is larger than these two. But whether the copper is larger than iron or equal to iron, this value you don't know. Correct? So therefore you cannot compare copper with iron, but zinc is definitely more than iron and manganese. In fact, zinc is lying somewhere here. Correct? So that is what we are trying to say. Ki it is difficult to compare this until and unless you don't know the exact position of there in the graph. So you can definitely say the largest atomic radius will be, just a minute, this scandium, titanium, Vandanium. So Vandanium is lying somewhere close to zinc. So you can say, let us say zinc is having the highest, followed by Vandanium or vanadium. They might be close, zinc and vanadium. Then we were having manganese and what else was there? Manganese and copper. So manganese and copper is sorted. So manganese is larger than copper. Manganese is larger than copper. You can check from the graph. Right? All right. So let's take the next question. This is an easy one, a reasoning based. This is an easy one, that is a reasoning based. I just verified about your class. It's maybe by mistake the message was sent. Today you have a normal class. Yes. So atomic radius of chromium to copper is almost similar, right? Atomic radius of chromium to copper is almost similar. Which of the following statement is suitable for this? Right? Matlab the difference is very less. If one is 141, other will be 144. Right? So between chromium and copper, the size decreases very less. So what is the reason for that? All right. So till now I've got some answers. You have another 20 seconds to vote this. Pritesh, what happened, beta? You're raising hand. Yes, Pritesh, I'll go back. Which slide you want, Pritesh? You can message. The option D was absolute values ke liye we don't know, na Prashant. From the graph, we don't know the absolute values. Yes, Pritesh, I'll go back. Right, so let's end this now on a count of 3, 2, 1. So let's see what's the answer. Right. So yes, obviously we have said as after chromium, manganese say pairing of electrons starts. Manganese mein electrons are paired in 4s. So due to pairing of electron repulsion becomes a bigger factor. So therefore we'll say the correct answer should be D. Many of you have voted also shielding effect increases for attraction of electron present in 4s orbital, right? So the point here is you're talking about shielding effect, right? As you're going from chromium to copper, right? You're talking about shielding effect, but that shielding effect is there between vanadium to chromium also, because there also you are filling the electrons, correct? You're filling electrons there also. It's not like you're not filling electrons in from scandium to chromium. So shielding is there. Obviously, shielding is more. Due to more shielding, Z effective is not increased much, right? So that's why both the options seem correct. Both the options seem correct, but since the shielding is common in whole 3D series, we cannot differentiate based on 3D, right? Why not scandium to vanadium? There also shielding effect is there, right? And you are increasing one electron. Shielding effect mainly lies in a group. Remember that. Shielding effect never comes into a picture in a period. It comes into picture in a group. Other thing, the other problem, when you talk about shielding effect, you are basically adding the electrons in the same shell. So therefore, shielding effect does not add much. But when you are going down the group, you add electron in more than one shell. Therefore, shielding effect is a bigger factor in group. Period, you don't apply shielding effect as a bigger factor, right? So that's why your answer here will be D. Yeah, in the previous question, you were asking about the correct answer, right? So we don't know the Prashant, the exact location of the points in the graph. So that's why if you see the graph, we are not sure whether the copper is lying here, right? So I compared with zinc actually. Copper lies here, Prashant. So if you compare copper, so copper matches with this iron, right? So your answer will become, I had taken zinc. So zinc was not there in the options. So if you compare with copper, so copper lies close to iron, okay? Or you can say close to manganese. So largest is vanadium, I would say, followed by manganese, followed by copper, and whatever was left. What was left? Okay, zinc was also there. Okay, zinc was also there, but they have not given the exact order here. Here they don't mean to give you the exact order, whether zinc is larger than vanadium or not. That clarity is not there, right? That clarity is not given here. So you can say manganese and copper are close, and zinc is larger than this. So Prashant, if you have observed the option carefully, in the option they are not comparing zinc with vanadium. They are just saying manganese is equal to copper, vanadium is greater than manganese, right? And zinc is greater than manganese. So vanadium is also greater than manganese or copper. Zinc is also greater than copper. But what is the relationship between zinc and vanadium? You cannot derive it out of this relationship. So this is not the exact relationship between all the four elements. You cannot say the relationship between zinc and vanadium, right? So here they are clearly mentioning that vanadium is greater than copper and zinc is also greater than copper, right? But what is the relationship between these two? That is not mentioned here, Prashant. In this order, correct? Okay, so in the not suitable for this statement. Okay, sorry. I thought suitable statement. Positive charge of then A is correct, B is correct. Just a minute. Electron present in 4s orbital are attracted more towards the nucleus. This is also correct. This is also correct. Then positive charge of nucleus increases from chromium to copper. This is also correct. Then yeah. Then you guys are right. The option which is wrong is B. Yes. I saw that. Then your option is right. The correct or incorrect option here is B. B is your answer, not suitable statement. B is your answer here. So Prashant, I hope your doubt is also clear now. And yeah, Aishwarya, KV Chetan, Pavitra. I hope this is fine now. Right? Adesh, you also. So not suitable statement is B. Is there any doubt in this? B is the not suitable statement. I have already given you the reason why B is not suitable statement. Because shielding effect you apply in a group. You do not apply shielding effect in a period. Because electrons are added in the same period. Okay? Alright. So let's move toward next concept or next property. That is the very important one. Ionization enthalpy. So all of you already know the definition of ionization enthalpy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to summarize it and go to the D and F block. So what is the definition of ionization enthalpy? It is amount of energy required to remove outermost electron of isolated gaseous atom. Right? This is the definition. Now, if you go based on the atomic radii, we know ionization energy is inversely proportional to size or radii. Correct? We know atomic radii from scandium to iron, it decreases uniformly. Correct? And then cobalt, nickel, plate remains constant. Then copper, zinc plate again increases. This is what we have observed. So ionization energy is reverse. You should observe scandium to iron, it should increase. After iron, it should become almost constant. Right? Then copper, zinc plate should decrease. You should get this type of graph. Correct? This is iron. This is copper. This is zinc. So you should get a graph like this. Correct? Let me redraw it. If you have atomic radii graph like this, scandium to iron, and then this is till iron it decreases, then cobalt, nickel, it remains constant, then copper and zinc it increases. So based on this, ionization energy is inversely proportional to size. So if it decreases from scandium to iron, then it should increase from scandium to iron. Then it should remain constant, cobalt and nickel. Then it should decrease from copper to zinc. This is what you should get in a graph. Is that clear? This is our expected graph. All of you please keep an image of expected graph in your mind. Let me draw it also for you. This is the ionization energy ka expected graph. Scandium to iron, you will get an increase. then cobalt, nickel, also you'll get an increase, but very less increase. Iron, cobalt, nickel. Then copper, it will decrease. Zinc also it will decrease. Right? This is the graph you should expect. Yes or no? This is the graph we should expect. Yes or no? All of you. This is the graph we should expect. All of you. Should we expect this graph or not? Yes. So we should expect this graph. Right? Let's see the reality mein what happens. Reality mein let us see what we get. देखो, vanadium, chromium, manganese, iron तक it increases. ठीक है? Then it decreases till cobalt, and then nickel also it decreases. ठीक है? And then copper it increases. At copper it should decrease. At copper it should decrease. But why it increases? Correct? So you can understand now. So till here graph is fine. Iron. After that we were expecting constant graph. But the graph is slightly decreasing and then copper weight increases. Why is it like that? We'll come to it. First let us see what are the factors affecting ionization energy. First is attraction of electron towards the nucleus. Second is repulsion between the electron. Third is exchange energy, right? So I think you remember for radii also we said force of attraction and repulsion together decides the radii, correct? So here also we are saying the same thing. So you can combine first and second point and say ionization energy is inversely proportional to size, because first and second point decides size. Exchange of energy means what? It says half filled and fulfilled configurations are stable. Half filled and fulfilled configurations are stable. Half filled and fulfilled configurations are stable. Now, if they are stable, they will have, therefore they have high ionization energy. Therefore, they have high ionization energy, right? Now, why they are more stable? That is the reason for that is exchange energy. Half filled and fulfilled are more stable due to exchange energy. I can give you a brief reason for that. If you take D5, half filled. So this electron can exchange its position with this electron, this electron, this electron, this electron. Similarly, this can exchange with this can exchange with this two, and this can exchange with this. So total there are 4 plus 3 plus 2 plus 1. Right? Total 10 exchanges are possible. Correct? But when you take 3d6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This can exchange with this can exchange with these two, and this can with this. So you get 6 exchanges. Why you are getting less exchanges? Because unpaired electron cannot exchange position with paired electron. Right? So half filled and fulfilled may the number of exchanges possible are more, therefore they are more stable. Therefore their ionization energy is high. So ionization energy is inversely proportional to size, and if there is half filled and fulfilled configuration, ionization energy will be high. So similarly, you can answer here chromium plus and manganese plus. Chromium plus and manganese plus, if you take, which will have more ionization energy? So let me write their configuration. So chromium configuration is, last cell configuration is 3d5 4s1, whereas manganese is 3d5 4s2, right? So you can write their atomic number and write their electronic configuration also. So what is their atomic number? Chromium atomic number is 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, 3s2, 3p6, 4s1, 3d5. So 4s2, 3d4 it should be, but one electron from 4s jumps to it should. I am kind of teaching you first year again. I'm not sure whether you know it or not. 3d4, it should be like this, 24. but one electron jumps from 4s to 3d to make it 3d5, because 3d5 will be half filled and it will be stable configuration. Therefore, to make it stable, one electron jumps from 4s to 3d. Right, this is the configuration. Whereas manganese, if you write, last term will have 3d5 4s2. So if you remove one electron, you'll get Mn plus. One electron will be removed from 4s, so you'll get 3d5 4s1. And chromium plus will be remove one electron from 4s, 3d5. Now the next electron you have to remove from 3d5, and here next electron has to be removed from 4s. So 3d5 is half filled and stable. Therefore, it is difficult to remove electron from here. Since it is difficult to remove electron from here, the ionization energy of chromium plus is greater than ionization energy of manganese. Or since it is the energy required to remove second electron, you have already removed first electron, you can say ionization energy 2 of chromium is greater than ionization energy 2 of manganese. You can write that. Correct? It will be 3p6. Yes. Is that clear, everyone? Yes. Is this clear, everyone? Now, similarly, you can answer among Mn plus 2 and Fe plus 2. Who will have more configuration? Iron is 3d6, 4s2. Mn is 3d5, 4s2. You have to remove from electron from Mn plus 2. Mn plus 2 means remove 2 electrons. That means you will have only 3d5. Iron plus 2 means you will have 3d6. Now, if you want to remove electron from Fe plus 2, you have to remove electron from 3d6. But in Mn plus 2, you have to remove electron from 3d5. Right? So 3d5 is half filled. It is difficult to remove electron from here. Correct? Therefore, ionization energy of Mn plus 2 is greater than iron plus 2. Correct? Is that clear, everyone? So electronic configuration also decides your ionization energy. Right? Electronic configuration also decides your ionization energy. Very, 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 very important. Correct? Now come back to the graph. Now the question which we have is this part. So till here to here, almost it is fine. It is almost increasing only. Right? Our doubt lies in this part. Correct? So here you can see from nickel to copper it should decrease. From nickel to copper ionization energy should decrease because size increases. But nickel to copper ionization energy is increasing. Can you tell me why? Can you tell me why? We are saying nickel to copper atomic radii increases. So ionization energy should decrease. But here ionization energy is increasing. Yes, because copper has 3d10 fulfilled configuration. Copper has fulfilled stable configuration. So it is difficult to remove electron from copper. Therefore, copper ionization energy increases. Right? Similarly, zinc. Right? Now, the idea is the cobalt and nickel should have almost same ionization energy like this. So it is same only. You can see here, there is no much difference in their ionization energy. So if this lies around 720, this will lie around 680. So there will be not much difference. You can check the value here. The value here is cobalt and nickel, 758 and 737. Not much difference. Graphmate looks more. Correct? Whereas iron and cobalt and nickel, they have close, let me highlight it here. They have close ionization energy. Close ionization energy. Whereas you can see manganese here. Right? So manganese here has 717. Correct? Now the question is why it decreases? Why it decreases from iron to nickel? Slight decrease only, but why it decreases? Why it decreases? Same reason. Same reason. Because here in this part, your repulsive forces are greater than attractive forces. The same reason. The same reason will answer your graph here also. Correct? Where would zinc lie? Zinc will be even higher. Zinc would lie somewhere here. You can check the value of zinc. It is 906. Zinc has the maximum ionization energy among all. You can check the value. I have kept both the things here. So zinc will have maximum ionization energy than all of them. Zinc will lie somewhere here. Zinc will lie somewhere here. Okay? So I hope it is clear. I hope it is clear. Anyways, we'll discuss it again tomorrow. We have to discuss the remaining two series also, 4D and 5D series. So we'll discuss and continue ionization energy tomorrow, right? Because zinc size is more. See here, zinc has more ionization energy because than copper, because 3D10 4s1. Copper has fulfilled 3D. What about zinc? Zinc has 3D10 4s2. That means zinc में 3D is also fulfilled, 4s is also fulfilled. Both are fulfilled. So obviously its ionization energy will be higher. Correct? Most likely we should finish it early, Jyoti. 5 maybe. It's going slow, I know, because of this exceptional things. You people ask a lot of things, and there is very rare reasons for them. So it's difficult to explain these things with exceptions. So most likely 5 to 6 more classes. Okay. Now coming to the quiz, I have one good science experiment here. I don't know whether you have gone through it or not. Right. There is a process. What you can do here is, you take your tea bags, empty it, remove the tea from it, open it, make it a hollow cylinder, keep it on a bench, and then light that paper of empty tea bag. You will observe, they fly like rockets. They will fly like rockets. Can you explain the principle behind it? How it happens? Are Sakshi, copper is 3D10 4s1. What are you talking about? No, Ganesh. So the process is, there is an empty tea bag, the tea bag which you dip in your tea. Take it out, open it, remove the tea. The paper which you'll get a folded cylinder, hollow cylinder out of it. So that hollow cylinder of the paper, you burn it. After some time, in the end, you'll see it will fly like rocket. Tea bag, you don't know tea bag, Athar, dipping tea bag. You know, railway station where you get tea, which you dip in a water, tea bag, that. What is this process? Yes, Prashant is right. Yes. So there is a very beautiful concept here of convection. Its answer lies in convection, right? Now, so what happens due to convection is, what happens when you burn it? So due to convection, warm air rises up. Due to convection, warm air rises up, and initially the mouth of the cylinder will be large. It will not be narrow. So more air rises up. So air has the space to rise up. Correct? But when the cylinder keeps on burning, right? So the mouth will keep on narrowing. So warm air does not get much space to rise up. So what it will do is, it will apply force on the walls of the paper in the last, when only small amount is remaining. It will apply walls pay pressure. So due to which, and the mass is also less because many of the paper has been burned. So due to that pressure, to balance that pressure, it will rise up. Okay? So that's the process. You can check it. You can check a good video of it named mini rockets in tea bags. Mini rockets using tea bag. The concept is convection. It happens due to convection. It's a very good experiment. Mini rockets using tea bag. I don't have time, otherwise I would have played that video. I don't have much time, otherwise I would have played that video. So this is mini rockets using tea bags. Just check it out, it's a very good one. ठीक है. Now manganese and copper have high ionization energy as they have half filled and full filled, but we can remove the electron from 4s. You can remove the electron from 4s, Prashant, but before 4s you have what? You have 3d. Correct? You have 3d. So what happens before that? Electrons were in 4s. 4s mein they were paired, right? If you keep them in 4s also, it's full filled configuration, which is stable, right? Either you make 4s stable or you make 3d stable. So configuration is anyway stable, right? Configuration is anyway stable. But what we are saying is you are comparing it with some other element in which neither d is fulfilled nor 4s is fulfilled. Nothing is fulfilled. So who will be more stable? Which has nothing fulfilled or which has something fulfilled? We are talking relatively, Prashant. You are talking absolutely. You are talking absolute terms mein. Yes, thank you Ganesh, thank you Naren, thank you Pradeep, Chandan. Yes, Prashant. Now you should understand it. You have two atoms in which neither d is fulfilled nor 4s is fulfilled. You have other atom in which either d is fulfilled or 4s is fulfilled. Which will be more stable, Prashant? That is what you need to understand. Understood that? So that's the reason we are not saying ki, we are not saying ki it will not have. Obviously, it can remove electron from 4s. But in comparison to other elements, they will be more stable because 3d is fulfilled. That's the reason zinc is more than copper, because copper and 4s is also fulfilled. Correct? All right. Scandium enthalpy of atomization is more. I will check that, Chandan. I need to keep extra classes for that. I'll keep that. Scandium has one unpaired electron, Kishore, whereas zinc does not have any unpaired electron. So number of metallic bond is directly proportional to number of unpaired electron, and enthalpy of atomization is directly proportional to number of metallic bond. Zinc cannot form a metallic bond because it does not have any unpaired electron, whereas scandium has one unpaired electron, so it can form at least one metallic bond. Therefore, scandium will have more enthalpy of atomization than zinc. Correct? So, yes, inert pair effect is also due to poor shielding effect of D and F subshell down the group in P block. Okay? So, thank you, Khushi. Chalo guys, I need to go for my next class. Take care, all of you.